Ladies and gentlemen, today's protagonist is still solving puzzles. The principal enters, like a beginner's guide character, announcing the homeroom teacher's resignation. The new homeroom teacher enters like a rom-com character. Daming recognizes her as his middle school tutor, Lai Hanjing. Subtitles: Kai Mrs. Lai gave him much encouragement, but tackling these troublemakers felt like a weaponless bunny facing wolves. Guy in black stood up, channeling his inner action movie star, and slapped that dude twice. Everyone around was speechless, except for the guy in blue who looked like he was casting a spell. The man in black sent his foe flying with a cake. Onlookers watched as Mrs. Lai, like a rogue director, slammed the rulebook. But no one paid her any mind. Mrs. Lai pondered that the plot of this school was worse than she had imagined. Cigarette butts littered the campus like confetti, students smoking like it's a party, and the only obedient ones seemed to be Zixing. After years apart, he was still that familiar top student, eternally ranked second, but Zixing was honest about it. Had come up with a plan, like a tactical genius trailing the previous student, pestering him to be his study buddy. The person who was previously annoyed by him felt at their wits' end and had no other choice. So, why don't we invite Shixin to join us and form a study group together? Shixin exposed the Cheng vocational highest truth, not a study place, but a farce. The chemistry guy in Licheng isn't a teacher or the principal, it's a student named Pai Heiyi. Known as Wild Pie, he created an app that pits students against each other, determined to turn this place into a breeding ground for chaos. Because he's the son of a legendary gang leader, famously dubbed the last student of this school. So here, fighting is the only option, but Zixing pulled out a rep report card. When pieced together, it clearly stated Shixin was ranked second in the whole school. He couldn't fathom why such good grades ended up intact. Shixin looked at the report card, pursed his lips, and with red eyes, he shuddered it again. He went to the restroom to calm down, got bumped while washing his face, thought it was seeming, and cursed. But it turned out to be the violent guy. Like Xue knew, Shixin quickly apologized like a little mouse caught in a trap. The guy didn't want apologies, he just wanted money, telling Shixin to bring 200,000 tomorrow. How could a student afford it? No money means only one option: getting beat up, and just then, Mrs. Lai walked by and witnessed the scene, turning to find help from other teachers. Yet those two teachers were unfazed and didn't want to help. Mrs. Lai, out of options, steeled her gaze. She firmly made up her mind to take action herself. It was truly an action hero's moment. After being rescued, Shixin's first words weren't thanks but complaints, asking Zixing why he had to put him through this, almost getting him killed. Shixin turned to face more punches, but that guy was already hot on his heels, asking where that tough dude was. Shixin acted like a Galanite. He would never reveal anything, and as a result, that kick was truly incredibly stylish. It turned out that to have a better body for studying, Zixing had been committed to exercise since 3rd grade, never stopping, day in and day out under his uncle's. He tapped into his athletic talent, thinking as long as he ate well, life was grand. One strike and Xuan went down for the count. Zixing hurriedly checked for breathing. Panicking had knocked him out cold. However, he still didn't agree directly about the study group. Shixin came from a single-parent family, with a dad working at a construction site, clearly not keen on investing in continuing education. He believed mastering a trade was the way to go, which is why the studious Shixin went for advanced schooling, while Zixing was the opposite. Zixing came from a well-off family with many options, yet he loved studying. Sadly, his grades were too dismal for the classroom groups to accept. Now that he had a chance to shine, he had to go all in. The turning point came the next day when Shixin gifted him his notes. Just as Zixing was about to thank him, he was interrupted by Xuan, who had picked up that he hanksy with Zixing. This time, he was out for revenge. Students immediately cleared the areas. Xuan acted like a little tyrant, flamboyantly burning those notes. Zixing didn't pay him any attention, laser-focused on those notes, calmly absorbing every single strike. Zixing found himself thoroughly overpowered, and with the notes on the verge of being reduced to ashes, his fury reached its zenith, leaving him utterly defenseless and unable to fight back. Seeing the bag ablaze, Xuan hurled it. Zixing jumped, catching it with his foot. Subtitles: spinning 2.5 turns in mid-air, Saming even burned his hand in pursuit of this notebook. At this point, Shixin didn't care about the burns. Seeing Zixing fight tooth and nail stirred him, and he finally agreed to join the study group. Irony struck when the Ministry of Education showed up for an inspection. During a chaotic day of fights and fires, Zixing nearly got expelled. Thankfully, Mrs. Lai intervened with the cash that Zixing had to make the study group work. So he had to recruit 5 members in 2 weeks, but would he really find another willing to study in the school? This crazy school has hardly any folks who want to study. But there were plenty of spectators, all looking utterly confused. What Zixing didn't know was that after yesterday's epic showdown, his prowess had become legendary on campus. Speaking of flames, Zixing's kicks were like fire, and his opponents were on the verge of collapse. There were always doubters willing to challenge him, turning this into a dangerous game. "Hold up, is that a monster?" one shouted. But funny enough, Sanji seemed to have avoided devil fruit. The one who came to provoke this time turned out to be ranked 3rd among the first-year students, and Zixing initially thought he was there to register, so he turned around to search for an application form, managing to effortlessly evade all the attacks.